Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to the Heart of the Gala.
Hey there.
How's it going?
We made it.
We made it. We
This
did.
we're here with a real heart today.
We are. We're actually. It's kind of the heart that started the heart.
Aw.
Aww. All
Oh.
right, let's get into it. My name's Bobby D,
And I am Erin,
and we have a very special guest,
the one and only.
the one and the only. Please put your hands together for the world famous 2002 International Auctioneers Champion,
Jill Doherty.
Jill Doherty. That's right. Hi, Jill.
Hi, guys. It's so good to be here with you.
Yay. It's
And,
our biggest fan,
And we are celebrating International Women's Day, and of course,
which is actually every day.
well,
Yeah.
especially in this household, especially with these two, and thought it would be great to kind of have our wonderful influence here with us and have a bit of fun. Yeah.
That's
All
true.
right.
So Jill,
Mhm.
what does it feel like to have a daughter and a son-in-law that has a podcast now?
Couldn't have imagined it in my wildest dreams.
You know this is your fault, right?
No, I guess you started it. No, I started. No, you.
You're like, no, you got to put it out there. Be like, you got to tell everybody in the world what you're doing,
I
and
love it.
how else can we do that here except live on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube?
That is
Hi,
all
everyone.
of the ways.
Want to say hi to anybody out there while we're
I'm texting it to your sister.
Are you
She's
sharing
gonna
it?
be watching.
okay?
So.
Say hi, Jackie.
Do you know that my mom is a twin sister?
A twin sister, really?
do.
Yeah.
A
They're
fraternal twin.
they're
I
they're
mean-
as about as twin as your mom and my mom are more twinny.
That's right. We'll do a live episode with my mom. Anyways, all right. So, Erin, why don't you tell us a little?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you
So,
lead.
Me lead. All right. I mean, this is pretty exciting because um everybody asks like you always hear like, "What? You're an auctioneer? How'd you start that? How'd you get into that?" And a lot of auctioneers will say it is family. A lot of people learn it through their family. They got into the family business, things like that. Maybe they've seen it with their family. Or there's generational auctioneers, and I'm fortunate to say I'm a third generation auctioneer. And growing up, wanted absolutely nothing to do with the business.
Jill, is that true?
That's true.
But we do have like evidence that you did work in the auction business.
Well, but I was in the background. I was
Behind the
running the
scenes.
paperwork. I was doing all the clerking, cashiering, and all of that, and had no interest in what my mom did or my grandpa. So
Wait.
here's where it gets interesting, though, is that each auctioneer is a specialist
Right.
in what they sell. So,
Mm-hmm.
Mom, tell us about your auction business.
So I went to auction school, and my dad sent me to auction school, and we came out of auction school, and he said, go down to my local municipality and ask them who's selling their trucks and equipment and vehicles. So I did, and it started a municipal career for me. I was selling police
what's-
cars, dump
yeah.
trucks, and garbage trucks.
Tell us about what municipal equipment means.
So for your local municipalities, when they're done abusing their equipment and vehicles, they can either trade it in or scrap it or auction it off. So I would talk them into auctioning it off. And they brought huge money.
but what
so it
kind of
was good.
equipment?
Police cars, dump trucks,
What
garbage
was the thing
trucks.
that if somebody called you, they're like, "Hey, Joe, we have to sell this," that you would get excited about?
Well, the more money, the better. So bulldozers and front end loaders and heavy equipment, the yellow iron, as they call it.
Ah.
And
Yellow
mom,
iron.
so my mom had the pencil, these like marketing pencils, and they were little gavels, and it said, "I turn iron into gold."
Right. That's it.
Ooh.
Alchemist.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
good.
That's the
That's like
thing.
us. We turn stories into gold.
True.
There you go.
We do. We do.
Sometimes a little clunky.
So, Jill, you're Generation 2. Tell us just real quick a little bit about Generation 1. Who started the auctioneer business?
So that's my dad, and he was a self-taught Well, he wasn't equipment. He was actually restaurant equipment. That was his thing was restaurant equipment.
Okay.
So he was doing restaurant equipment repair, and then he was buying restaurant equipment at auctions. And the light bulb went off, and he said, "I like this. I want to
there we
do
go.
auctions." And he was a New York City commercial auctioneer. Which the funniest thing is, we here in New York speak the fastest.
Yes.
Or so it's perceived. I don't think we do, but whatever. But
City
we speak the
lights.
fastest. But when it came down to that, the New York City auctioneers, their chant, which is the auctioneers' sing song,
Yep.
was kind of like this: $50. Are you all done? $50. Any advance?
It's not very song.
$60 in time. Are you through? $60 any advance? What's
Oh,
your number?
sorry. What's your number? Okay, so then that's what they
So
were
that's
like.
what it started, and that was commercial auctions. And then my dad and his friend, who was an auctioneer who had been to auction school, who had the chant and the bibbity bobbity, as
Mm.
they teased us, he said we should go to auction school. So the two of them sent their daughters. So Diddy Warsaw and I went to Missouri in February. We thought we were going on vacation.
Missouri in February is definitely not
Missouri in
vacation.
February. We were like 20.
That's a good.
Oh,
I bet it was a good time.
Yeah.
I bet you laughed.
Cattle yards, cattle stock yards. Oh, we laughed the whole time. You know how that whole auction industry. Who can talk the fastest, and who can show off the most, and who can tell the funniest jokes on the planet. So yeah, that was a really good time. It was a week of my life, and I came back baited for bear. I didn't know what to do with it, but we started the municipal equipment business.
all right.
But
And
then
they teach you when you leave auction school. Everybody, all of a sudden, you've been like warped into. I think I'm a cowboy.
Colonel.
oh
Right.
yeah,
They give you the name. They tell you you're a colonel. They put a hat on you, and you sell a cane.
Okay.
Tradition is you auction off a cane, and so you came back to New York a colonel.
a colonel, and I was wearing a black cowgirl hat, a nice Stetson, a new pair of boots, and a belt buckle.
Which in New York City we don't see very many of.
Yeah,
Except for the guy with the
and
naked
Yeah.
guy.
that was the early 80s, and it was kind of out there. Although country music was coming alive in New York.
Nice.
But so that was the beginning. It came back like
And then
that.
you were like, no.
Yeah, no, the good news was I went to the National Auctioneers Convention and had an opportunity to get up on the stage for this little fun auction. And I remember there being a hush over the audience because there were there were women auctioneers, but they would not showcase.
Really?
Other than one person who was our friend Cookie Lockhart.
Yes, Cookie. Yeah.
So she was a cattle auctioneer, country auctioneer from Colorado, but other than her, nobody else would get up to the microphone. So there was a hush over the crowd.
Now I've seen a video here, and maybe we'll find this video and get it digital one day, where an auctioneer is introducing you during this national conference, and he says, "I know you've never seen it before, but we're going to see what it's like if a woman can auction. Jill,
If
give it a try."
Give it a try.
give it a try.
And it really is like, what's going to happen?
Well, you know what?
Dun,
Actually,
dun, dun.
I think we maybe should show the folks at home maybe a little clip of this.
The championship?
The championship.
2002.
Oh, this is the fast
Here you go.
forward
How many
clip.
dollars?
Yeah,
What
you
do
check it out.
pay?
Well,
I
this
got
is
10 to bid now
2002.
20. I'm a 10 to 20 to bid now 25 to bid now 30 to bid now 35 to bid now
sure
40 to bid now
relationships.
45
Yeah,
to bid
look
now
at
50
it
to
go.
bid now 55 to 55 to 55 now 60.
Yeah, this is
I'm
this
a
is
60
fast
to bid now
forward
65,
quite a
65,
while.
65. I'm a 60
Oh,
65 to
she's
bid
so
now 70.
beautiful.
I got 65 to bid now 70 now 70 now 70 70 to bid now 75 75 75 75 75
And what
bid
year
now
was your
80
first
put him in 80 put him in
your
80 I
first
got 75 80
conference?
bid now 85 85 85.
Well, the first
80 bid now 5
competition
5 5
began
one more
while
time.
I
80 bid
was
now
there
5
at the
No, I know your
National.
first
$80.
conference.
I
Like, when
sold
did
it
you
out.
start going to these
$80
national
bidder
I was
conferences?
pregnant with you. So
That'd
you
be in
just
the
turned
80s.
40.
Yep, the 80s. Yes. Do the math.
So it was like in 1982.
So you go, and there are how many female auctioneers around you?
Cookie.
And how many
One.
New York auctioneers around you?
Half a dozen.
Okay, that's
Six.
That's six. And how many people are at this conference?
2,000.
Thousands. Okay.
Wow.
And so now you get up on stage. Do you get up the first year at the fun auction?
I think so. I think so because we
Nothing
right
stopped
away.
you ever, did it?
No, no. My dad said, "I think you're the best auctioneer in the country," and I said, "Really, really?"
Oh,
Yeah,
I
he was probably
loved
right.
it. And so now you keep going, you keep showing up. Now I know some of the stories. The numbers have not changed significantly for the amount of women that are in the industry, even though it's been 40 years. But we are seeing more women.
We are.
And that shift, you have a huge role to play in the visualization of women in the auction industry.
You have.
Dun dun dun.
When I was coming up into the auction industry, I mean, you being an international auctioneer champion, I mean, that's like a big deal. it's like winning the Super Bowl for an auctioneer. So I knew of you for many, many years, and I'm like, oh, she's amazing. She's super cool. I was in awe the first time we actually met in person because I'd seen YouTube videos and heard stories and whatnot. But it took there was a journey. I want to talk about the journey that it took from your first contest, kind of what that was like, to when you won.
So there weren't contests when you first started.
No, that came a couple of years later, but you were about 4 years old or so when we had to send a VCR tape in to be considered to go into the competition.
And did you when? So the first competition is mid '80s, and when did you compete?
From the very first one,
You were in the first competition.
the first one, with the good old boys.
How many women competed?
Well, me.
That would be Uno.
Okay, so we do know the winner that year, Paul Seabear,
Yep.
great gentleman, has run auction schools. He is
Contests
has
and-
won contests, run them. He's a great auctioneer. But I will tell you that when I went to auction school, it was Paul Bear that was like, "We need you in our school. He's a great person." So you keep competing year after year in this competition. And now when you compete, they give you a list of scores at the bottom there. And what kind of stuff, what was your feedback? Did they encourage you to keep competing?
Rah, rah, rah. Go get him, Jill.
Not bad for a lady. Well, in the beginning, there was
Yeah, no, like that's a
there
real
was
thing.
no
Yeah.
paperwork. There was no paperwork in the beginning, and in the beginning, well, the competition is about the auctioneer's chant.
Yes.
And that's how it started, but then it's gone further. They're looking for the representative that is the ultimate professional auctioneer. So they look to see that your hair is perfect and the things you say, how you present, what you do, and your auctioneer's chant are all considered. So even a hair out of place could get you knocked out of
Or
the
if your
competition.
Pants are too short.
Pants are too short, your socks are showing if they don't like that. One year I had on a short sleeve shirt, a jacket,
Jacket,
kind of like a stewardess deal. And Cookie Lockhart said, "What were you wearing yesterday?" I said, "What?" And she was one of the judges.
Oh.
So I didn't make it into the finals that year.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So when was the first year you made it into the finals?
Pretty much every year, well, not every single year, but most of the years I was in the finals.
The only woman, and you're showing up in the finals.
Hmm. Sometimes one or two other women would come into the competition, and my recollection, I guess some of them had made it into the finals. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna, because we got a lot to talk about. But so now we fast forward here. There's a couple years where all of a sudden you've decided that, and when I know some of the backstory here, obviously I know all of it, but you decide to stand up in front of everyone and tell the the National Auctioneer Association they need a women's division.
I told the good old boys and the good old girls that.
And who loved that the most? Who least loved that, I should say.
So what they asked, was there any new business? We were at the big business meeting, and everybody was in the room. So my dad had just passed away.
Oh.
And you felt him in the room come over you. I'm going to just cover over her,
Lift
her
my
emotional
collar.
moment.
And put me in front of the microphone, and I said, "I think we need a women's division." I hadn't thought about that or considered it or discussed it with anybody ever.
Just a strike of lightning.
The audience went,
Pop up.
"What? What? Woo."
So funny.
How dare you?
They come running up to the microphone and say, "No, no, no, we don't want separation. We don't want division." But these were women that would never competed. And I was like, "Hey, it's not fair. Shut up, sit down."
They weren't just female auctioneers, they were wives of male auctioneers. And their belief here was that you are making it less equal. You are making a separation between men and women's division, so they're not equal. And when we look at it from a different perspective, men and women's voices are different.
Yeah.
There's a different tone in voices. There's a different style. So there's actor of the year, there's actress of the year, there's female vocalist, there's male vocalist in
Look at the
many
Olympics.
sports.
Yeah. I mean,
So
men's swimming, women's swimming.
it's
all of
not to devalue them, it's to give them a fair platform
Right.
to compete. And so now they obviously shut the idea down pretty quickly. Next year,
The following year, same story.
same
I'm
story, shut it down.
No, well, I'm sitting in the same seats, and the same question came up, and there I am, just no thought, no pre-thought, just standing in front of the microphone again, saying, I really think we need this. And my closing argument was, I think it would be good for the National Auctioneers Association.
Light bulb.
And at that time, there were young auctioneers coming up through the ranks at the National Association, so they had a little bit more open mind.
Okay.
And so after that second year, they said, "Okay, Jill, we got you what you wanted." And I was like, "What?" And they said, "The women's division." I said, "Oh, okay." It didn't matter to me. I was going to compete anyway. I always compete. But when I walked in the room, instead of it being one or two or three of us, there was like 30 women in the room.
Whoa. So open the door for female auctioneer competitions.
So that was the beginning.
That's
That was
creating
the-
a safe space for them because they could be identified.
Mm-hmm.
Now, up until this point, it was not an option.
Yeah, there was no way you had to compete with the men.
It just
Yeah,
wasn't an
but you
option to be a
wouldn't.
female auctioneer.
Oh.
Not just the competition. It was not thought of. It was not an idea. It was not, your son grew up to be the auctioneer.
Right.
And so this is the first time where there's this whole space equaling the playing field and bringing out this awesome thing. And now I find this to be one of the coolest moments. I don't know how you feel about it, but tell us the results of that first female division auction competition.
I lost.
What? This was your big idea. How can you lose?
Those ladies were kick ass.
Oh, that's
I
okay.
They were
You can curse on this. It's all right.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So I competed against the good old girls for a few years, and my clock is ticking, and all of a sudden I'm realizing I'm going to be 50 now.
Okay.
So, and this wonderful auctioneer came in hot out of auction school, young whippersnapper, and Amy, and
Oh, yes.
snatched that trophy. I don't think she could even spell auctioneer. She was so new. But she had the most beautiful chant, and she was
Oh, yeah.
taught by the best professionals,
Yep.
and she just nailed it. And I thought, I'm going to really have to sharpen my pencil and my craft here. This is not a just walk in and take it competition anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Well,
had to
she'd brought that
lose weight. I had to put on my suntan. I had to like
have
totally
her
go
makeup
there
professionally done.
for the first time. I think that all that stuff played into it.
Well, it had to sharpen you. You were now competing against actual competitors. You were competing against people that were of your caliber, that were better than you, and then you had to be better, which is the best part of those competitions, is it pushes everybody to be better. And when you're not competing on the same playing fields, you really
Yes,
have nothing to bounce against.
Yeah, there's no way. Yeah.
So finally, mom gets to be one of those champions.
Yay.
Yay.
2002.
2002. It was in San Diego.
Yep.
And I was actually at that conference supporting.
Wait, no, it wasn't. It was in Orlando.
Was it Orlando?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
never
was the
mind.
next year.
The next year, that's what it was. In 2003, my mom competed in the International Auctioneer Championships, the women's division, and I was there to support her. Like, yay, mom, go, mom! And we have a video someplace where Jill is putting the participants medal on my mom, and
Ooh.
they never knew that. I mean, now they're best friends, but that it happened like that. And so it,
In-laws.
yeah, there was in-laws coming across the stage right there. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah. So you win, and then what?
That's it. You win, and that's it.
And you take over the world.
And then you take over the world.
But what was really cool by then, that competition had developed so big, and it was so important. So many people came to it, and et cetera. They really upped the ante, and they paid us $10,000.
Holy crap.
Plus that trophy.
And you didn't get that one
Cha-ching.
those first years.
Oh no, the
First years, you just got a belt buckle.
Yeah, the 10,000 had just started. That's true. In the
Was-
beginning, it was a belt buckle.
was
and a
that-
big ring, like a champ, world ring or something.
Was the 10,000 the same amount as the men?
Mm-hmm.
So same money,
Yeah, yeah.
kind of like how it is now. I mean, everybody's
Oh, yeah.
fighting for equal pay,
Equal.
for equal prize money. I mean,
Yeah.
they've got a huge thing going on with the women's soccer in Canada. They're like, oh, we don't want to pay them. They're like, no, screw you. We're not going to play. Pay
Yeah.
us.
No, it was a big opportunity to really open up a whole new opportunity, a career, a goal, a dream.
Whole new
it
field.
really showed.
It was a
It
showcase.
really
Yeah.
was.
So when the competition came to town, the the radio, TV people, whoever were doing the interviews, they wanted to talk to the women auctioneers because that was the fun, cool something besides the, the good old boys that
Right.
everybody's listened to. They wanted the new,
Yeah.
the new
yeah.
sizzle.
It's good news.
But
So
I gotta say, like, oh, do you want to keep telling me?
No,
this?
go ahead.
All right. Well, so now here we are. We're obviously years later, and we'll tell some of that story. But I literally got a call this morning from a client saying, "We're just sick of seeing the same person. It's the same person up on stage all the time.
Yeah.
I had no idea there were women auctioneers." And I'm like, "Well, thanks."
Newsflash world. We're surrounded by them and they're awesome.
Yeah, but it's still
you just don't
only
know.
in the teens, teen percent. I hear the numbers all the time. It's either 14, it's 15, it's around 12. It's not even 20% of the auction industry is female. And so it is still a great opportunity and it's out there. And I think that these showcasing and these opportunities and being out there. Now, here's another funny thing is that when you watch TV or you go into like your clicker into the word and you put in auctioneer, it's either the Christie's guy, buttoned up, very clean cut, or the cowboy. And still on TV, that's all you see when you see the shows and all of that. So it's really interesting that's the image.
Yeah. The top 6 images on Google: Blaine Lots auctioneer, Blaine Lots
Cowboy,
cowboy
cowboy,
auctioneer,
cowboy,
cowboy,
cowboy.
Christie's, cowboy,
So, I mean, it makes sense on that's why that's all we see,
wait.
think of.
3 pages down, there is a art auctioneer on a cruise ship. First female.
There you
But
go.
like 30 images down of stereotypical auctioneer.
So that's where the showcase came from. But here's what I was going to tell you is that my mom's also a celebrity for the TV. And I got to tell you this
Ooh.
because, again, something we need to get on digital. Now, Mom, you've been on TV before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying this is all we see on TV, but where could they have seen you on TV?
My favorite,
Yeah.
David Letterman.
What?
Oh,
way.
mic drop.
And I got the phone call back in the time when we had alpha pages. So my message was, it's the David Letterman show calling. Please call us and we want to see you today. And I went to the payphone and called somebody and said, come on, who is this?
Who is this?
Yeah.
No
Are you
way.
is this a joke?
They said, how soon can you be here? I'm like, well, it depends on the traffic. The Long Island Expressway, New York City. I'll be there soon. And I went in and they interviewed me. And I said to them, okay, so I'm ready to do this. And they said, well, wait, we're interviewing a few other people. I said, really? I said, are they New York City auctioneers? And they said, of course. And I said, oh, I'll be back. You'll see. I'm going to have sushi. I'll be back.
Nice. I like
And I
that
got the
confidence.
gig.
It's like, yeah, I'm badass.
And they just challenged me. They had on a man who was the world's fastest talker. So he would like repeat after you,
Oh,
like
it's the Micro Machines guy.
annoying a little brother. Go to bed, go to
No,
bed.
he
I
was
said go
on
to
that
bed. I
show
said go to
too.
bed.
Yep.
So
Okay.
they wanted me to challenge him. So they were looking for fast talkers. So they had Marv Albert on there. He was a sports announcer, and myself, and
Cool.
so that was the reason.
Future podcast viewers will put the clip here.
David Letterman.
All right. So, Bob, we could talk to Mom forever about her experiences and everything, but we do need to talk about the fundraising world.
Yes. Yes.
Because here's where the big shift happens. So, Mom mentioned she's selling all sorts of heavy machinery, she's doing all these auctions. I will tell you, nobody worked harder. Mom would be filthy dirty. She'd be driving in the auction, putting the signs in the ground for the marketing. She'd be on the phone with the newspapers, putting the ads, and she'd be going there and making sure things started and climbing up and over things and doing titles and doing the computer work. She was like the janitor, the DMV, the bank,
the CEO,
the marketing,
all of that,
as well as the CEO, as well as the auctioneers,
And-
all at the same time.
a single mom the whole time.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, there's that too. Just yeah, no,
and
yeah.
full time just to me. Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, it is a full time job. I can attest to that. You are a saint.
So I go again, I move across the world. I'm going to do all these things. I travel the whole world. I live in LA. Lived in Italy. I live in Spain. I travel the world. I go to college, do these things. And I'm like, all right, mom, I'm ready. And she's like, ready for what? I go to auction school. And she's like, why? You hate what I do. And I was like, I do hate what you do. I'm going to do fundraising. And she was like, that's really nice. You can't make a living doing that, though.
So you're doing these fundraising auctions
So
as
well, we haven't talked about that. So
okay, yeah.
as mom is running this municipal business and she's running this, when you graduate auction school and you want to start your business, they tell you how to start your business. Number one, go out and volunteer at your local fundraiser and practice how to be an
Use
auctioneer.
the audience
You'll
to
get
practice on.
lots of auctions from it.
Did you?
None.
What?
I'm in New York.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. So okay. So then
So she's doing her her actual paying auctions and then some fundraising. And so there'd be like these little school auctions. There'd be some smaller events and she was trying to get some publicity. Now a lot of auction companies do this. So you always think like if there's a free auctioneer, why are they free? They're
there's a
getting
reason.
something.
Yeah, there's a reason.
So either they're earning their angel wings, but mostly they're there for like the free food, the free booze, the raffle tickets, a great date night, or they're there to market themselves to sell something
Yeah,
else.
or their business.
Or their business.
Yeah.
So mom was there marketing and having a great time. But the auctions looked a little bit different then. I wish we had one of those like
We do. Future podcasts that'll be here. Woo.
so what was a fundraising auction like back then?
So the first fundraising auction, they called my dad, and they said that it was the Arthritis Foundation, and they were looking for an auctioneer, and they were going to do a bachelor auction. And my dad, like, blushed. He's like, I can't auction off men. I mean, it embarrassed him.
This is
He
like
said-
Love Island meets auction.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, okay.
And
He says-
grandpa.
And Grandpa, so Dad says, here, Jill, give these people a call. I told them it was more forte. Okay. I'm like, all right, fine. So, and it was a bachelor auction. We auctioned off date packages. It was so much fun. But they had taken it to the best level, so the men were in tuxedos, so we were wearing ball gowns. So we got all dressed up and everything, and I was running the show, of course, because the whole night was the auction.
Yep.
Auctioning 20 or 30 bachelors off.
So tell us, what's a date like?
The date packages? Oh,
Yeah.
anything. Could be a hot air balloon and dinner and a limo and flowers. And so the woman was actually buying the date package, and then it was her option if she wanted to have the gentleman to escort her.
How cool.
Very cool.
Most
Fun.
eligible bachelors in New York
Very
City
fun.
in the 80s and 90s.
Then I think they got nervous about, what if we get sued? I think that started.
Yeah, selling humans becomes like a whole weird, different crossover
Yeah,
thing. But it
yeah.
was about these dates. It was a great way to raise money.
So
It was
much
a
fun.
night out. But here I am, a young, impressionable young woman, watching my mom go out in these gorgeous gowns. I mean, the sequins, the shoulder pads, and there are a couple of times now she gets into some school auctions. So I would get to go to those and like, probably because she didn't have a babysitter. And I would get to like pass out the raffle tickets.
Yes.
And I'm watching these beautiful nights and people are happy and they're having a great time and you're seeing like this community come together for whatever is happening. And I just remember thinking like, wow, this is awesome. And then of course, this is mom's like not her real job. This is her like fun hobby, right?
Right.
Like that's the side
Way to
thing
give
she's
back.
doing.
Well, that was the beginning, but then we actually did start charging for it.
Right.
Because they introduced the buyer's premium.
Okay.
So there were ways to collect the funds from the buyers,
Like a service fee.
like a service
Yeah.
fee. And I was realizing that, like an MC or somebody that was running the whole show, that was me. I was
Wait,
running the whole
were
show.
MCs getting paid?
So yeah, MCs get paid.
So the MCs are getting paid. How about the food? Catering's getting paid.
Everybody got paid.
Everybody's getting paid except
But
the
me.
auctioneers.
Yeah. But then we started charging, and they were okay with it
Yeah.
because we kept taking them to a higher and higher level,
right.
showing them with the tune-ups that we could share with them how they could earn extra money.
Now, where were these tune-ups coming from? Because there wasn't a school that taught that.
No, it was myself and a couple of other auctioneers, trial and error as we were going through it. And at the National Auctioneers Convention that we continued to go to, there were more and more women getting together and sharing their experiences in the fundraising world.
But
But it was
the-
light.
There was also Kip Toner.
Kip Toner was one of the first.
Godfather, yeah.
So he's out on the West Coast. Now he's working at the same time for another municipal auction company, but he's now started a subdivision doing benefit auctions for that company.
Okay.
Right.
So he's building up that business. And I will never forget the two of them standing in the hallways at conferences talking about like the hot trends.
Wow.
What's going on over there? What's going on here? Because these are the two.
Got to be a fly in a wall.
Oh, it was cool. I'm like, tell us. I think that's where I first heard about heads and tails.
Yeah, all those little things. And Kip Toner was a trailblazer
Yeah.
because the good old boys club and the good old girls club, they wanted you to volunteer for fundraising, and he turned it into his profession. He did
did
not do the
awesome.
municipal equipment. He was, like you said, under another company. So when they got phone calls, send us an auctioneer, they just gave Kip the
Nice.
information.
Nice.
But he wasn't just going in and doing the bid calling. He was giving them his business expertise, and that was
Game
game
changer.
changer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And if you look at like kind of the evolution of galas and fundraising events across the nation in the Pacific Northwest, where Kip got started, is like years ahead of where we are on Long Island here. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, with the internet now, it's just it's exploding. But it is. It's that premium exceptional experience that Kip was really striving for everybody that was in the room, and obviously to raise more money for the nonprofits, because that's the whole point.
yeah. Well, then it became, I think back in the day too, it was like the more they made, the more we got made. There was a buyer's premium, there was a percentages,
Yeah,
there
very
was
common.
this. It was like, let's all put skin in the game here. Let's all. Although you don't get caterers that do that. Like if your event is great, pay us more. No, like your chicken's still your chicken. But this is a
You can tip your
service
waiter.
that that's true. But this is, yeah, tip your auctioneer. But there is this quality of an experience of people that are doing this nonstop, that are really learning it and mastering it.
Yep.
So this is where more auctioneers get involved. But again, it is such a minority group, and they're really trying to push it out as something. So this is where I step in and I'm like, Mom, I'm going to do this. And she's like, again, you can't make a living doing that. Like, what
Can't
else are you
give
going
me.
to do? And I'm like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, I just graduated college. I don't need to make that much money. I can do this for now and figure it out.
So the apple didn't fall that far from the tree, because we have a trailblazer woman auctioneer here, just like breaking everything. We need a division. We're going to do this, changing everything. And then now here, the daughter is like, no, I'm going to come in. I'm going to change everything, and I'm going to do this professionally. We're going to do this right. And I can make a living and doing your passion and helping the world.
There was a lot of changes within, Mom was running and she had her own way of doing things. I was like, we're not doing that anymore. We're not doing that anymore. We're not bringing our own computers to auctions anymore. That was a big one. She was like, what?
Well, why not?
What do you mean?
How are we going to clerk?
But there was a lot of changes that happened, and with those changes came a search for more knowledge.
Yes.
There was always the how can we get better? What are we missing? And I think, Bob, we're still looking at that. Like we're always looking for how do we make sure that we're ahead of the game? Like what else can we provide for our clients? And I think that that's a great effect that's happened from this. It's sort of like, how can we make this bigger and better? Yeah, we're us. We've got our personalities, but how else can we make it better? And it is the experience points, totally, but there's also the education that came with it.
So, Jill, how does it feel now to have a daughter that's a trailblazer in the auction industry that she never wanted to be in, and then now, on stages across the nation, in New York City, and doing this? I mean,
It's incredible to watch her, just incredible, and to be so sought after and taken seriously.
kind of a big deal.
Because it's not that easy to be taken seriously, but you eloquently have really developed it and created something, to be followed. You're like the I don't know how to say it. Not the trailblazer, but you are the trailblazer. You are the beginning of the best types of fundraising that's going on, and you guys have nailed it. And it's not the good old fashioned auction anymore. You've perfected it, always keeping your eye on the ball. The money, not your money, their money, the money for the cause. keeping the eye on the ball. That's been, I think, the most significant.
Yeah.
That's neat.
It's beautiful.
Now, have you two ever worked fundraising auctions together? Like
Oh,
both
yeah.
on
She
stage?
lets me work sometimes.
I used to.
Used to. Well, now what do you do now while Aaron's on stage?
Well, Erin has babies, so
Oh,
for the
that's
past 10
right.
years, they have been my delight. And she calls me every night. Says, "Hey, we nailed it. We nailed it." Okay.
That's my like
Yes.
that's my favorite part of the night, especially when you come over watch the kids. You're like, okay, tell me everything, and we sit there for like another hour just talking about the event, talking about what went good, what could have been better. We had these two bidding wars going on and all of these different things, and there's not many people that do speak auctioneer that understand that, but it's great having someone like you in the family to be able to kind of do that brain dump kind of at the end, kind of come down for the and share
Big
that share it.
celebration.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have another podcast where you talk to another auctioneer who's like,
Mhm.
it's such a lonely industry,
It is.
and I am very fortunate that that's not my
I know. I'm
experience.
surrounded by auctioneers.
Well, because when you try to explain to somebody what you do and what this life is, it's very confusing. And if you don't have to explain, you can just get to the good parts, and then you're just like, but if you don't call mom after an event, I'm like, oh, it's midnight. I don't want to bother her. She's like texting, like, I am still awake, waiting for my phone call
Yeah.
report. How did
Yeah.
it go? And then we have all the key words, like, it was fun. What's that mean?
Wah, wah.
Nah.
Not as fun as it could have been.
More that you say it's what more fun than she says it's more fun than money.
Oh,
And we've had those before. They're not all perfect. They're not
yes.
all.
Sometimes a lot of money, sometimes just a lot of fun.
Yeah. And but we have this great conversation that can happen that I'm so fortunate to have because you can always kind of hash out something. There are little details. One of the biggest things when we first were working together, before we'd be getting on, you have everything in your mind. And I used to kick her butt because she'd always, right before I'm about to go on, she'd be like, don't forget to tell them to hold their bid cards up.
Whatever.
Don't forget to introduce your team. I'm like, Mom,
Especially
not my
Yeah.
first rodeo.
Yeah.
But then there was one time I introduced her and I told them it was bring your mother to work day.
But that went great because I think
Wah,
you.
wah, wah.
But it's, and we have an event coming up
Yes.
that remembers Mom as the lead auctioneer.
Yeah. So we get to have you back.
But for me, being a female on the floor, because it's not just the auctioneers, you have a team of
Yep.
people that work for you,
Yep.
and so that the entire audience is connected. So you send out your personnel into the audience to actually communicate with you. They're called bid assistants. So when you send me out into the audience, and if you don't introduce me as a professional bid assistant, I feel like I'm like an overzealous mom.
Oh, it's nice.
Over here.
Over here. Yep. Over here. No.
Yeah, you're
So
right. So
that's my
I can understand
only
that. Yeah, just introduce me as the yes.
professional
okay.
bid assistant. This is what they're going to do. Yep. Okay, good. That's it. She's supposed to do that. It's not because it's my mom.
So you busy next Saturday night? You want to come and do an auction with me?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let's do it. And I
Yay.
think a good idea is probably to get some video of this interaction and kind of like what it looks like.
Okay.
And then we can share that on a future podcast.
Great.
Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun. Well, and
Can't wait to work with you.
okay, yeah, it's a good time.
I've had your mom work with me before.
Oh my, yes.
It is a good time.
Yeah. Clean is, yeah.
It's
It's
a fun
she's so
experience.
busy.
Yeah. Well, no, now actually, her and Gary are starting to quiet down. They only do one auction a week now. They travel a little bit for some classic car auctions, but not as many as they used to. And
Okay.
they're like you. They've turned over the reins of the fundraising and whatnot, and special occasions. Mom comes out. So think we need to figure out a time
Oh,
that
that'd be
Mom
so fun.
and Gary are here in New York, and we have an event, and then all of us get together.
Yeah,
We
it'd be
had an
fun.
That would be
event
so cool.
a couple of years ago at an event, and it was for Girls Inc., which is a girls empowerment event, and it really talks about motivating women, strong, powerful, bold, strong, smart, bold, and I brought Mom, and it was great to have a mother-daughter team,
Yeah.
but we one-upped it. We brought Jill Marie Wiles, who's another champion auctioneer, and her daughter, who had just graduated auction school, and it took her to New York City, which is a really
I think
big
who
deal.
actually is graduating this year from high school now.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, she's
We should get them two on.
they're so cool. But it was a cool experience, and then there were so many young women impressionable young women that were really just like, wow, there are auctioneers that are doing this and seeing this dynamic. So it is fun. I mean, it does show something else, but not just that. There is a special magic of working with your family because we all speak the same
Got
language.
this ESPN
So
going on. It's like,
there
meow.
really is a language that's happening around the room. Our bid spotters, our co-auctioneers, if we're selling together. Mom and I used to wear matching outfits. That was like a whole thing. Talk about really being the same.
Cute.
That was cute.
Right, that's cute.
And sometimes we would both share the auction item. We would do our chant, a dual chant, two people chanting at the
What-
same time, selling the same
What
item.
would that sound
at
like?
the
Oh my gosh,
same
look at this.
time.
We have the world's famous Stanley Cup right here. Why don't you
Here
auction
we
this
go.
as
How many
Stanley?
dollars on it? What do you want to pay? Can I get $10 on it?
10
Out
is
of
bid
10.
net 20, want to go 20, net 20, want to go 20, have a
Yeah,
20,
20 is bidding. 30, put 'em at 30, put 'em at 30. You better bomb at
I
30.
got 30
20,
here,
now
now
30.
35, want to go 35, have a 35, want to go
35
35, now
my way
35.
and 35 and a half
Yeah,
40.
now
I'm at
40,
35,
here's 40,
now
I got 40 here, now 45, want to go 45, now 45, want to go 45.
45 is bid my way. I got 45. Now 50. I'm at 45 to bid now 50. Yeah, but I'm at 50. Got 45. Now 50. Yes or no? Gotta go.
Okay.
Sold my way 45.
Yes.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
What's your number?
Sold it.
That's awesome. I love that. I think that's.
You're blushing.
I am. I was like,
That's
whoa.
why he's so confused right
I'm a
now.
little flustered right now.
It's like, ooh, can
Yeah.
I do that with you, Aaron?
Yeah, that's good. Oh, I love that. And there was an instant, or it was for a while, that you both performed on stage, or in the. I mean,
Performance art.
yeah, performance art as auctioneers, and were
That's true.
auctioneers together.
Just traveling around the world,
We'll
being a
put-
couple pieces of art.
Again, woo, woo, woo.
Yeah.
Tell me about that real quick, because we're gonna put that video right here eventually in the future.
We did some performance art. We were invited by an artist
Doug
who
Aiken.
liked, Doug Aiken is his name, and he liked the sound, the rapid sound of the auctioneer's chant.
Yes.
And he put it together with percussion, with trains, everything fast moving. He was an artist, and he put us all together. Then he came into New York City to do a performance, and he invited me to come in to work. And I didn't. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll be there, whatever. It was at the Museum of Modern Art, MoMA, and it was the first time that they put modern art on the exterior walls of the museum.
Cool.
So that was a big deal. But then inside, we were doing this performance art piece. So Erin was, what, a senior in college?
Yeah.
And I called you up and I said,
In art
I'm going to be
school.
doing, yeah, right, in art school. Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Should have mentioned it to her. I said, I'm just doing this piece tonight for Doug Aiken. She said, who? I said, Doug Aiken. She said, really? And where's going to, at the MoMA? She said, what? You're going to be a MoMA mama? I'm like, what?
The links will be below in the show
But
notes.
yeah, we did get some performance art, and then Doug invited us to Europe.
And you hit the road.
Yeah,
We
we
did
hit
Art
the road
Basel.
with them.
Oh my
That
god,
was
that's
a
so
big
cool.
deal. And it was so cool just listening because it really is an art. I mean, it really,
Mm-hmm.
each auctioneer is so, I always say this, their chant is really special. It's very personal. It's a song. It really is a part of their art. And so he just took these different auctioneers and layered their different levels on top of each other and mixed them together and brought a few auctioneers and some percussions and
And
made a piece.
live performance art.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Papa.
So a little known secret here. That's where my obsession of these two began, because before I even met you, I saw you on YouTube with the Doug Aiken special. It was the Song of the West is what it was, and you were both in the audience, and you would go, and then you would go, and like I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it. It's so awesome. You have to watch it. The link is below. So cool.
I am the girl that's way up in the top with the hair all the way down my back. I don't look anything like I did then. Everybody's like, "That's really you," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's
Yep,
really
that's
me."
you.
I
That's
was up at
so
the top of
so
this
cool.
opera house.
So cool.
A great
All right, we got a
opportunity.
couple more minutes left. So you were talking about younger women that are looking at opportunities in the world to make a difference, and how neat it is to be able to showcase, like, look, there's fundraising auctioneers that are women that are making a big impact into the world. So Jill, for you now, someone watching, maybe a professional fundraising development director, or someone that wants to be a professional fundraiser, or someone that's just curious in auctions, what advice would you give that young lady right now?
Who would consider this
Yeah, consider this as a
his
profession.
career?
Yeah.
Number one, you've got to go to auction school.
Okay.
And certainly the benefit specialist schools that
Yeah.
are now in
Now.
existence.
Yes.
So you have to learn as much as you can.
Yeah.
And then jump in.
I want to know advice for stage fright.
Oh yeah.
Squeeze your toes. That's that's what
Just
Merv used to say. He was like, he is one of the oldest auctioneers, Merv. And when he would be backstage and you were getting ready to get on stage, he'd tell you, take a deep breath and start squeezing your toes, squeeze your toes together. And it would just like change the energy in your body before you got on stage.
nice.
Do you ever have stage fright?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, those competitions. One year I was so off, and I was one of the first people out on the stage, and I couldn't get off the stage fast enough.
Oh.
I just panicked and just it was weird. It was a very off year, and it was like, oh, I'm glad I'm not in that competition. Let's go get a cocktail. So,
But then
one
the
of those
repetition, it becomes
years.
easier. The more practice, the more times on stage,
Yeah,
and
it's the stars in the universe. Everything has to be in alignment.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's
a
true.
whole lot.
yeah. So what you'd say is just go do it.
Absolutely, just
Yeah.
go do it. It's not the good old boys or good old girls club. It's
It's
a
totally different.
profession. It's something if you like to entertain, if you like to teach, to educate, and if you can control an audience, if you can,
Command that room.
command the room and have contact and heart.
Yeah.
You got to have that heart. You got to get that connection.
Yeah.
I think that's where you guys really nail this. Is you really hone in on who you're working for. You don't just show up and say, "Hi, what's the name of your organization?" You really do own it. Own it.
Yeah.
You got the tattoo, all those tattoos on your back of all the organizations. Where am I going to put the next tattoo of the next organization that I love?
It's true. I always think about that. I always say they're always my favorite client. Well, they are because you find out what they
Yeah,
do.
they all are
It's
Fall in
hard not
love.
to fall in
doing
love,
such
yeah.
great work. Such great work.
I
So,
donate for groups that I'm not even worth anymore.
so finding a mentor, like it was how cool that your mentor lived with you and took you kind of everywhere and helped to build this confidence within you that you really can do anything and be anything. I don't know if you knew this or not, but Aaron does do some mentorship work. So maybe reach out, have a conversation. We can put you on the right path. I've been mentoring some great auctioneers as well too that are going to be great auctioneers.
It's true.
It's fun. It's fun to see that talent develop and then step into the spotlight, like you say.
Yeah, and I think there's something special too. There's a couple auctioneers that can help. I find that it's an interesting industry. A lot of auctioneers really do want to help because there's just a big love for what we do and it's so deep. Anybody who wants it, we're like, "Oh, do it. Do it. It's so great. Let me tell you. What do you need to know? How can we help you?" So, I most of my mentorship has always been towards harnessing your inner power and really revealing who you really are and letting that shine. And people just get a little bit scared of things. Even, every time I'm out of somewhere, I'm like, get close to the microphone.
Yeah. Don't be scared.
Get up in there. You've got a voice, use it. So there's a lot of that I love to talk about.
So, Aaron, you have your question that you ask all of our guests. Do you remember that question?
What's your favorite book?
Yeah. Or book you're reading, or yeah.
The book I'm reading right now, I'm reading with Eric.
Really? Mm-hmm. What are you reading?
The big book,
What's the big book?
the Bible.
You're reading the Bible right now?
Well, Eric's reading it to me.
Oh,
I
you're so
know,
cute.
I know.
Aww.
I know. I can't believe it.
So glad that I don't know. I was picturing like Moby Dick or something. The Bible is way cooler.
Way cooler. Nice, nice. So good, so good. Well, Jill, it was awesome to have you here with us. I mean, we're picking up the kids from the bus here in like 15 minutes. Oh, I'm supposed to be on a call soon. Oh, no. All right. So
Be interesting to see if those little guys follow in your footsteps.
we've got our eye on one of them.
What do you think?
Who knows?
You didn't think I was going to do this, did you?
No. And plus, the industry was just so changing so much.
Yeah.
The internet and everything else.
Oh,
So,
that's true.
Yeah. And now look, we're live on three
now
different
you're live. It's like
three different
telling my
television
story.
stations.
It's so good.
Anything you want to share with the world? This is your chance.
No, good to see you all.
Still alive, doing
Good to be
well.
seen. Better to be seen than viewed, right?
Nice, nice. We just had a cat fall from the sky. Yes, come on up, Tinsel. This is Tinsel. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Tinsel, to the podcast. She's even colored like a microphone. That's very awesome. Anyways, okay, so I want to thank everybody for watching. If you have any questions for Jill, questions for us, questions about galas and fundraising, histories and auctions of whatever, please reach out. We're happy to help. I did hear that Jill has a new Instagram page. Should we do a little?
Oh, we're working on it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have at Jill's advice. It's gonna
What?
be. I haven't told her about.
Oh,
it
did I ruin
yet.
the surprise?
did,
Oh, I
but that's
totally
okay.
did. Oops. But follow
I
at Jill's
want to
page.
write a book about her.
Yeah.
Coolest advice anybody has ever given, said,
All right.
done.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Well, you can follow me online at Bobby D Auctioneer. And thanks for watching.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank you,
for
everybody.
Where can they find you?
I'm everywhere.
You're everywhere.
Star Auctions.
And
I inspire hearts.
and
Gala Auctioneer.
there you go. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jill, for being here. Thank you,
Thank you
Aaron.
for
Thank you,
having me.
Tinsel, for being a part of our episode here. And thank you to all of you for watching and learning and changing the world every little way that you can. So thanks again for watching Heart of the Gala, and we'll see you next week. All right. Bye, everyone.
Should we bring back Bachelor Auctions?
No. We're done. Bye. Bye.